Hi, I wanted to talk to you about the heart brain connection. I am a heart math facilitator, and the reason this is so important to me is I believe that if I really had understood this, I wouldn't have had the heart attack that I had. And I so really want you to understand how important this is. So I'm going to go over it with you and just share. So HeartMath is a non-for-profit organization out in California. It's been around since the early 80s, and they've had 280 scientific journaled articles published showing various facts about the heart. But basically, the heart, yes, it is a physical organ that pumps the blood to, our body, and without it functioning, we would be dead within a short amount of time, like minutes or less. Um, but also, the heart is the seat of our emotional self. And like we talk about it, kind of, we might think it's sort of a saying, she's followed her heart, or he leads with his heart, or that's such a heartfelt story. Well, it turns out it is the seat of emotion and love. And it also can be measured. This is one of the things that HeartMath has done. The heart is an electromagnetic organ, and it sets our whole electromagnetic field around us, and it can be measured 3 feet around us, above and below us, just surrounding the heart. Now that's just being measured by a certain device. It actually can extend much farther than that. There's just not instruments maybe quite as sensitive to pick it up, but it is, like, some people call it their aura. They call it your vibe. I'm sure that you have walked into a room and you have really connected with someone and you don't quite know why. It's because of the aura or the vibe that they're putting out, and that really starts with the heart. Similarly, I'm sure you've walked into a room and you're like, I want to get out of here, or I've just met someone and I know there's something about them I don't like. It's probably because they are exuding um, something about their electromagnetic field that is repelling you. And that is true. Like, you have bad vibes, you want to get up and go. We kind of intuitively know this, but now it has been documented and measured as such. So, I also wanted to share a little bit about a technique that the reason this was so important to me is I realized I had been doing all kinds of things for my heart attack. I had been eating right, I had been exercising, I had been doing self improvement work, but I never really meditated because I couldn't sit still. And I knew that one of the best things to do was actually meditation, but I had tried it a couple of times and I had failed. And so I tried to do everything else, even though science, like I had been reading about this, that the single best thing that you can do for yourself if you, like, for example, have high blood pressure, is to actually meditate. Well, HeartMath has a very cool device, a biofeedback device that I have been using to help me with meditation. This is kind of what it looks like. This is a Bluetooth device, and this part here clips onto your ear, and it plugs into, or it transmits to an app on your phone. And what you can see is your coherence. Now, your coherence is the synchronicity between your heart and your brain. Uh, and it is really, like, for example, the way to get into good high coherence is to feel a higher level emotion. So one of care, compassion, appreciation, gratitude, love, those are all things that really amplify our coherence. On the other hand, things like anger, frustration, jealousy, hatred, that does not serve you at all to hold those emotions. It decreases your own heart rate variability, and it is not good for your longevity. It's not good for um, the vibes that you give off. People are not going to like you. If they, sometimes I've known people who I felt like always were under a black cloud. Well, it's because of the negative thoughts they were thinking, and that's one thing that I had been doing right prior to my heart attack. And just to illustrate this, like I mentioned, there were all these studies that were being done. Well, one of the studies showed that they measured people, or they got people, there was test and control, and they had people get really sustained anger for 5 minutes. Not exactly sure how that happened, but what they did is they measured in their blood some immunity related markers over time, over 6 hours. And then they had people think about care, something they cared about, and then they measured that over time. And you know that for 6 hours afterwards, the people who felt anger had suppressed immunity. The people who had felt care 6 hours afterwards had increased immunity. So your thoughts are one of the best ways to increase your own immunity. And what I wanted to go through right now is one of the things that I am trained to do as a HeartMath facilitator is just to take you through a meditation that will help you increase your coherence. And it can be something that you measure with, like here, I kind of needed to have, I needed to have this device to really know if I was doing something right. It's very simple. You just clip it onto your ear and clip the rest onto um, your clothing like this, and then sync it up with your app, and you can go. And so the biofeedback will tell you. You can kind of sneak a peek and see, am I doing it right now? And you can see the actually on the app. There's coherent waves are just nice regular waves. Whereas if you're feeling frustration, anger, any of the lower level emotions, it's really jaggedy. So you really can see the effect of your emotions on your meditation. But anyway, let's just go through the basic meditation. And not surprisingly, the first thing that you need to do is to go through um, the breathing technique. And we breathe all the time, but unfortunately, and fortunately, we don't want to always have to remember to breathe because we wouldn't be around for long. But let's just concentrate on our breath work, and let's breathe a little slower than normal. So breathing in and out, and that's all you think about is your chest going up and down, up and down. And what I want you to imagine is that you are breathing through your heart rather than your lungs, and that you're feeling it move in and out, kind of like the cartoon characters that you see where it's pumping right like out of your heart. But breathe in and out, in and out. And so that should, you can do that for 2 or 3 minutes, and that should just calm you down, reduce anxiety, calm you down. And that's a really great start. And if you looked at that app, you would see that you're starting to get into some coherence. But here's what you can do to really supercharge that is I want you to think about a time in your life that you felt really great emotions. Like for example, it was recently Mother's Day, and I was thinking about how grateful I was that my whole family was there. My daughter had just graduated. My whole family was in town staying at our house. Everything was harmonious. It went off just beautifully. And I was just so grateful for everything that transpired. And you can draw on memories like that. Maybe it's like one of your pet, or maybe it is you walking along the beach with your toes digging into the water and the warm water lapping at your feet. Whatever takes you there, you can think about that along with your breath work. And then what you should be doing now is really amping up your coherence But then, if you really want to start attracting things into your life that are drawn to you because you're emitting such good vibes, I want you to imagine you're pushing it out, that you are pushing it out to your loved ones, the people you live with, the people you work with, to your community, to people on social media. You know, they can feel it. If you really have good intentions, they can sense it. And it's kind of a funny thing. It's a lot of times, we believe that we can listen to the radio because there's radio waves. We can't see it, but it is real. And that's the same way with this whole electromagnetic field and being attractive. So the steps are to creating coherence is uh, focusing on your breath. Once that is regulated and your mind has slowed down, then think about a positive emotion and really get into that, and then finally push it out into the world. And you should have a lot of wonderful things happen, be attracted to you as a result of that with doing it on a consistent basis. Okay, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it.